What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
It's 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. I know this won't come out on the 4th of July, but it is. We are going to recap what races happened? Austria.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to recap Austria, the craziness of Austria, and then we're going to do some predictions on Silverstone. So, pretty straightforward. But yeah, well, there's a lot that happened. So, yeah. So we'll start with our meme of the week. Owen's not sharing his screen. Owen has a new background unlocked.
Yes. You're at a
It's not in the basement.
Case, you go first. You go first for your meme.
Okay, let me. Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, it's a running joke because Max Verstappen's been winning every week, so the cool-down room, people are now coining it his podcast. But we have his favorite guest was back this week, Charles Leclerc, when he literally said in post-race interviews that he wished Charles Leclerc had a faster car so he could fight with him on the track. So that was his call to Ferrari to get your shit together. But yeah, so that's his that's this week's podcast with Charles Leclerc. The Photoshop job is brilliant.
The table looks very well placed, and it really does. It looks very much like they are recording a podcast together.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a perfect analogy for like the way the season has been going and the like cool down room. Like it's literally just like Max Verstappen and guests, you know? Like,
yeah, because you can't even say it's Perez all the time. Like it's literally. But can we also take a moment that Charles Leclerc was sitting in the wrong chair again?
Of course he was. Of course. I feel like those chairs like don't even. They're just
they're in there for like what 2 minutes before they get called up to the podium. Like they're not in there for long. Do you want to send me yours?
I don't have one technically. So I found it the other day, but I don't have it. But it's very, very self-explanatory, and it's literally just the Oprah meme of you get this, you get that, like fill in the blank, whatever.
I did have that one because I made one for that.
Right, and that's honestly probably the one that I saw was the one that you made. But like, it was literally this past weekend with Austria. Like every single person on the field got a time penalty, or because they exceeded the track limits, and specifically on turn 10 too. So like that is
it's 9
just, like, the perfect meme for the entire week, which is just you get a time penalty, you get a time penalty.
Here's one. I don't think this is actually what you were, but like basically
that's pretty much it. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Like
yeah, it was too good.
It's everybody got one besides 2 people, and it was insane to me how much time was given out and how many penalties like in total like were handed out by the FIA. Like it's insane.
Yeah, we'll get into it more because obviously it was literally the theme of the weekend. I should rename this episode the FIA 5-second penalty Grand Prix because that's literally what was
that's exactly what it was, yeah.
Wait, I had one more. This one. The circuit Ocon was driving today since he got 30 seconds. So the dark black line is what he was driving compared to the real one. But
that is very accurate.
Yeah. I thought there was a lot to choose from. We could do a whole podcast on the memes from the Austrian GP.
You could do a whole podcast covering how many seconds, Pete, like, a whole breakdown of all the penalties people got. We could definitely make, like, 30, 40 minutes of coverage on that. Like,
yeah, no, we could go on and on. But yeah, so meme of the week, pretty simple. Weekly news, there's not a lot. First off, news broke that AlphaTauri will obviously be renamed They didn't say what. People were saying bring back Toro Rosso, but Helmut Marko said no, that's not going to happen. Yuki Tsunoda was joking around saying it should be called the Yuki Tsunoda. So, but yeah.
We were the guys that I was with during the race. We were cracking jokes. We were saying that it should be called like sugar-free Red Bull or something. Like, and they were saying if you look at the sugar-free Red Bull cans, it's like it's a light blue and a silver like color like design.
Yeah.
That would make for a pretty cool livery, especially too.
Yes, it would.
McLaren's, recent livery with the silver on it. It would make for a pretty cool livery. So we were joking around about that, but we were saying sugar-free Red Bull Junior, like whole
Red Bull Junior, Red Bull's wings. Yeah, you could totally. If they keep it Red Bull, I don't know if they would keep it Red Bull themed, like because were they Red Bull Toro Rosso or is this Toro Rosso?
I believe Red Bull was somewhere in there. I think Toro Rosso was just like the shorthand version. People just opted to say.
It's just they're the only people you ever think of that they're like. I guess you could say Williams are kind of quote unquote Mercedes junior team, but they're not. But like AlphaTauri literally is like the Phantoms to the Flyers. Like that's literally what they are.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever. I think you're right. I think they won't keep they're definitely not putting Red Bull somewhere in the name, but it'll definitely be something closer to like
Red Bull.
Like more on brand with the Red Bull team right now. Like it'll definitely be closer to it.
And I think they're moving the headquarters too because AlphaTauri is located, I think, in Italy somewhere, but they're going to also move them basically where Red Bull is in England. So they have a bigger hand in. I think they're in like Milan. I feel like because I remember seeing like last year, like Pierre Gasly would post when he was near the factory, and it was in Milan or somewhere in Italy.
So this says, let me look up AlphaTauri F1 headquarters because I got a different.
Yeah, why? What did it show you?
Austria, and then it said like AlphaTauri is like a brand extension into fashion from Red Bull.
They do have fashion.
AlphaTauri's headquarters. Scuderia AlphaTauri is located in Faenza, Italy. So yeah, you're pretty close.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be exciting to see what happens with their new name.
I'm still sticking with Sugar-Free Red Bull. You should do it.
Sugar-Free Red Bull. Okay. Let's send in our.
They should do that. They should ask the people. Ask the people, like, what do you want?
When do they do the next special livery for a person? It's a few races, is it not? And they were just at the Red Bull ring. You would think they would have done it there.
Yeah, you would think they would do it there. But on the other hand, I can see them being like, no, this is our home race. Like, we want our regular, design on the car.
Yeah.
They did say it was going to be like 2 or 3 races throughout the season, right?
Yeah, maybe Vegas is another one. But you would think, the Red Bull one, maybe they're going to do like Max's home race. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll. But I just randomly thought of that. But yes, and then before we get into the next one, I'm just going to throw it out there. Go watch Charles Leclerc's new YouTube video, literally just released 36 minutes ago. We pushed back starting recording so I could watch it before. Listen, everyone knows it. If you listen to this week in and week out, I love that man. And it's just perfect. Him and his family are freaking adorable. They interview his friends because it's all about the Monaco week. So they interview his friends that literally are at the one turn and like talking to them and all that. It's a good watch. Highly recommend. But more serious news.
Yes, very, very sad and serious news going to that now.
Yes. So everyone heard the Formula Region Championship sponsored by Alpine. Had a race this past weekend in Spa. Everyone knows Spa. A few years ago with the crash for Antoine Hubert. This past weekend, an 18-year-old Delano. I literally watched so many videos to make sure I got the pronunciation of his name correct. Did I just say that word right? Yes, unfortunately, there was a pretty crazy accident in Spa. The conditions were awful. I was scrolling on TikTok and the video of the crash came up. I did not want to see it. It just came up on our For You page. You can't even see the cars. That's how bad the spray is because it was raining. You cannot, like, think of last year in Japan when the tractor was left on the track and Pierre Gasly was freaking out, like, because you couldn't see it when Carlos crashed. That's what it looked like, if not worse. So yeah, I think a few cars, but they're the one that took Delano's life. He obviously passed away, and then there's another driver that's still in the hospital. He's in stable condition, they said, with multiple broken bones. But the news literally broke minutes before the F2 sprint race on Saturday. It was like right after the sprint shootout. In between, the news came out that happened. What happened? So I watched the Sprint 2 shootout, and like them up on the podium, like they didn't care. Like they gave the trophy to them, and they were just like no smile, like they had no care in the world. But that's what I was telling you. The Juan Manuel Carrera, they did reverse grid for the Sprint shootout, so he was like P3 for most of the race, and I was like, I just can't imagine him, what he's thinking of this exact moment. But yeah, very sad news. I mean, shout out to Lance Stroll. He ignored every question he got in the post-sprint shootout and sprint race and only talked about the passing of Delano. He didn't even know him. Then he was wearing, a bunch of drivers were in black armbands. But yeah, now they're calling, obviously Spa needs to make changes on that same like spot, or they just need changes because in the past 5 years, 2 drivers now. So
yeah, I mean that's not a good look for Spa at all. Like you said, 2 drivers in the past 5 years passing away in that spot due to like accidents and everything is not a good look.
But like it's also like I guess the FIA is also controlling this, like the race that they were at, but like it's also them. Like why send them out in those conditions?
Yeah, it's a poor call. Like I understand. Yeah. I get it. You're a multi-million, billion-dollar, sports league. You have all these people out here and everything. You're gonna do everything you can to run your race and hold the event that everybody is there to see. I understand that, but at some point, the common sense has to slip in and has to, show and be like, hey, we really shouldn't be doing this, Now,
no, obviously the lives are more important than the entertainment of watching cars go around a circuit.
Exactly. And I did see, so I got sent a tweet yesterday. It's from Fastest Pit Stop. And they said that Formula One is set to test wet weather wheel arches for the first time after the British Grand Prix. These wheel arches should improve visibility in wet races by reducing spray. And there's this little diagram that basically like show the angle of spray without the wheel cover and then with the wheel cover. It definitely would help. But like going off of what we were just saying with common sense and this, this tweet coming out, what I don't want to happen is like these wheel covers to go on, it to be like a great improvement, and then for like the FIA is allowing them to drive in even worse conditions. Because then it's like, well, the spray isn't that bad, so they should be able to see everything. And it's like, just because you can see doesn't mean that shit isn't gonna happen.
I mean, I hate driving in my own personal car after it's raining and the spray coming off of cars in front of me. So I can't even, they're going so much faster. I can't even imagine.
It is.
And they don't have windshield wipers.
Exactly. I mean, and it's just, it gets down to the point of at some point, somebody somewhere needs to be like, guys, this race should not be happening. And that should have prevailed that day, and it didn't. Yeah. And these are the consequences. And somebody lost their life, which absolutely sucks. It happened.
I did see right before, literally this morning that what's it called? That team, I think it's MP Motorsports, which they just had like an awful weekend to begin with. Apparently they were fined for saying something in the WhatsApp group chat. So they were fined money, and then they go and lose one of their drivers, but they pulled out of this weekend's race, I saw. Yeah. I mean, and there were also, the MP Motorsport has people in F2, so that's what, like, they have teams throughout, just not Formula One, but yeah, they have people throughout. So there was drivers under that team in F2.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely, it's scary. I mean, they all know. I mean, Charles Leclerc said before, I've seen interviews, and someone asked, like, does he ever get scared? And he said, no, the minute he's scared, that's when he knows he has to stop.
Yeah.
Like, if something freaks him out, like, they can't think about it, but obviously, yeah, sad.
I mean, yeah, that's just, it sucks. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
No.
It's very, very, very sad that somebody lost their lives because of, you know, hey, let's put everybody out in these horrible conditions, and there you go, you know.
I know, the spray, like, think of the F1 TV, like, cover loading page when it comes up.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks cool, but it was worse than that. Like, it literally looks like last year in Japan when they were driving and the tractor was on the track. Like, Pierre was ready to murder someone.
I feel like it's almost like there should be just, like, a cutoff line. Like, the moment, like, a driver just, like, can't see the car in front of him.
Yes.
Done. Like, done. We're not doing it. Don't, like, because like you said, it's not worth, somebody's life is not worth the entertainment of watching cars go around in a circle. And it's just like, to me, there should be a line of just like, hey, go do like a formation lap or something, or go like during practice or like during qual, whatever it is, like, go put the safety car out there. If the safety car can't see a car in front of it, or if they're like a driver can't see the safety car in front of them, like, call the race. Just be like, we're not doing it. Sorry.
They should use the safety car. The safety car should be like the weather conditioned car as well. Like, go out there. Like, if you can't see, I mean, even in the video, like, it's, as a spectator, you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Like, people didn't know the cars were there until the crash happened. You heard the crowd, like, like, because the spray was so bad. So what are they actually watching?
Yeah, they're
the
not
race on their phone.
They're not watching anything at that point. Yeah. It's just a shitty situation.
Yeah, major. But yeah, I mean, hopefully the wheel covers will be interesting to see how they work, but who knows what will happen there. But yeah, that was really only the weekly news. Let me step back. Yeah. So moving on to Austria. Jam-packed weekend.
We have so much stuff in this section.
Well, I was just taking notes as things happened, and I didn't even take a lot of notes for the race. Like, I feel like so much more is going to come up when we start talking. I'm going to remember things. But, like, because literally, okay, so obviously it was sprint shootout weekend, so there was only one practice session. That was normal. But then literally from qualifying on, it was, oh, okay. And that's, people hate on the new sprint format. I don't mind it because it's action from them, make it like Friday to Sunday, like nonstop action.
I don't mind it either because, like, that's the thing. Like, we watched the sprint on Saturday. I didn't see the sprint shootout, but it was cool because it was like, I woke up on Saturday and I was like, I have a race I can watch, and then I woke up on Sunday and I was like, I have a race I can watch. You know, it was. I don't hate it. I know we've talked about it before, but, like, the one thing I don't like is the whole just, like, one practice type thing. I wish they were able to squeeze in just maybe, like, another practice or, like, to get in one more practice. And I think if they did that, I would like it so much better.
Or even, they should even make practice longer. Because, like, how are you getting enough tires ready for the... Because, like, they did take away the tire, like, what tires were mandatory for each session during the sprint shootout this weekend, or last weekend. I don't know if it was because of the weather, because they thought they were going to need wets or intermediates, or they just took it away because, like, last time, I think it was Yuki and Lando Norris ran out of the tires they needed, so they were out of the last qualifying session for the sprint shootout. But that was the only... But yeah, no, if they make it longer, or, like, put a practice on a Thursday. Who knows? Just
yeah, like, I'm even okay with. I like that idea of making practice longer, making it an hour and a half. Make it, you know. I mean, if you make it 2 hours, you're basically cramming two practices in one. But, like, make it an hour and a half. Give them extra time just to kind of get the data they need and the feel they need for the track. You know, they use that practice to establish breakpoints and collect data from the car,
Yeah.
and adjust the car where needed and everything. So it's tough for me it's tough for me to watch the sprints, because when they go into the sprints, in the back of my mind, I'm like, they're not 100% confident in these. Like, they're not like, fully confident in these cars for this weekend, you know, because they've only had 1 hour-long chance to get out on a track and figure everything out. But I mean, you know, it is what it is right now. That's the thing. Like, I don't hate it. I enjoyed it. It gives me 2 races to watch over the weekend, and it's fun to watch for me, you know.
Although watching qualifying on a Friday during work is very hard.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's literally like in the smack dab in the middle of the day. But yeah, I guess we can start with qualifying, because from there on it's just wild.
Yeah.
So qualifying alone, there was 47 times deleted. That's just qualifying alone. The only 2 people in qualifying to not get a lap time deleted was Logan Sargent, but he was out, I think, after Q1 or Q2. And Charles Leclerc, who went all the way to the end. So they were the only 2. Everyone else, just the list went on and on and on and on and on. And then I realized when I was watching qualifying, I was like, what the hell is Leclerc doing? Because Q1 and Q2, he literally was almost the last driver that was like, could potentially be out.
Right.
But it came out that he was getting track times deleted, so he was playing it safe until that Q3, and then he pushed. And I was like, that's why your driver IQ.
That's smart. I mean, that's like, that's how, like, there was a swimmer on Widener who would do the same thing. Like, the morning swim sessions, he would go slower, but just enough to make it into the finals. And then the finals is when he would go all out. And it was just like, it was annoying, because you had that anxiety of just like, oh my God, is he, like, what if you go just a little bit too slow? You know, like, if you're trying to teeter on that edge, like, that raises the risk of going too slow and then not making it to the finals. But then when you make it to the finals, you're like, oh, now I can cut loose and go all out. You know, it's just, I mean, yeah, I give props to Leclerc for doing that. I mean, that's smart for him to, like, recognize that, like, hey, everybody's getting times deleted. Things are going nuts right now. I'm just going to play it safe, take care of the car, you know, ensure that I'm staying within the white lines, and then Q3, I'll go all out, you know, because then I'm in Q3. At least then, if I do have a track time deleted, I'm still, like, you're still midfield, you know, like.
Yes. But it worked out in his favor because he was P2. I'm bringing up the results. It was taking forever. Yeah, so obviously, quali positions were Max Verstappen P1, no shock there, Leclerc P2, and Carlos Sainz P3. So but the shocker of it all, Lando Norris P4. People are saying they don't know what it is with Lando Norris and what's it called, Austria every year, where he pulls out like the performance of his lifetime. And like, I did look back, he always has good races in Austria. I'm like, do you want to be a Red Bull driver? You turn them down.
I wonder if he just really enjoys that track. And it's like,
probably
he just like goes into it just being like, I like this track so much that like it just makes it that much easier for him to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe that could be it. I don't know if there's like an interview anywhere of him saying like, I
think there is. Probably.
I love the Red Bull ring. I just feel like I can have fun on it, like all that stuff. And it's like that psychologically will like allow you just to go like that much faster, or like perform well there, you know, like
he goes into it confidently. Yeah,
exactly. You know, it's a thing. It's like, I'm familiar with this track. I know this track. I love this track. Therefore, I know when I can brake. I know when I can push myself, like all this stuff.
Yeah. And then the gap between Max and Charles was only 0.048 between P1 and P2. I don't know what Charles Leclerc does with that Ferrari qualifying, but he
somehow gets that
magical
for him, and it's insane that he does
when it's always working against him. I remembered why I have Checo and De Vries listed there, but now I remember because De Vries was out after Q1. I mean, that man's job is on the line, and it looks like it's good. It looks like Liam Lawson is the front runner to take his seat, so There was that.
Really, really driving for his for his job right now.
And we all know Red Bull, they will away. They will just kick him out right away. And then Perez, awful again. He's failed to make, in the past 5 races, he's failed to make Q3, sometimes Q2, and they were comparing it to Nico Hülkenberg, Albon, and Oscar Piastri, who have made Q3.
It's just wild to me because I think it was either last season or season 4 that we got the whole like storyline about Checo and him struggling and everything, like all this stuff. And it was definitely like an optics thing, like struggling against Max.
Yeah.
Max is Max, but like it's gonna, like with this stretch, like it's gonna come again. Like we're gonna watch that storyline again in season 6 of just like,
oh, it's literally the most reoccurring storyline you can get in Drive to Survive. Like it's just gonna keep happening. Whoever you put next,
will Checo lose his job? And it's like, no, like, or you know what, he might, but that's the thing. I don't get something about qualifying lately. He just can't do it. He can't figure it out.
No.
And it's like,
I mean, he was sick this week. He missed Thursday. He was sick. So then people were like kind of being annoying and they automatically thought Daniel Ricciardo was going to be driving. People were like, Daniel Ricciardo's not even here. So how is he going to drive?
Yeah.
And then it came out saying that Yuki would have driven in his Red Bull and Liam Lawson would have drove in AlphaTauri. So that's what would happen. Yuki would have gone up, which I would pay to see Yuki in that Red Bull.
Interesting. Yeah, that would be so fun to watch with either outcome. Like Yuki does really well in it, or Yuki just can't handle it and it just like goes like shitty. Just like does a really, really horrible job.
This is so random. Did you watch the Yuki and Max race the monster trucks video?
No.
It's so funny. It's so funny. They released it this week or right before the race. It's literally like just the two of them in like a pit of dirt, and they're racing like monster truck, like pickup trucks. First of all, watching Yuki climb into that truck is hilarious. And then they like show his feet, and like he's literally like his toes are pressing the gas pedal. You have to watch it. It's great. But he beats Max. They like race each other, and he beats Max. But Max's car like broke down. That was a good side note. But yeah, I would pay to see Yuki in the Red Bull. I would pay.
I'll have to watch that then. That sounds funny. I would love to see him climbing into a monster truck.
They literally show him, like, the camera's behind him, so you see it, they're like shimmying up in through, like, they don't show Max getting in there, but they show Yuki because it's so funny. Yeah, it's worth it. What the hell? My phone.
Oh, what's going on there?
It was like, this screen was glitching.
Oh.
Because I thought I had, like, screenshots saved about qualifying, but to bring something else up, but I don't. But yes, and that really nothing else. The story of qualifying was the first incident of getting track times deleted.
Yeah. The preview for the race. That's what it was.
Yeah. It's preview for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
So then obviously Saturday morning was sprint shootout. Let me go to the next one. Sprint shootout. The places were Max Verstappen, shocker. Perez actually made it all the way through and got P2. And then Lando Norris, P3. And Nico Hülkenberg, P4. Shockers there.
You know what? I love it, though. I
think you literally were like, don't talk. Or because when he was when I texted you, you're like, no one move.
he was setting himself up for podium position. Like, I think he was in third. And then, you texted me and you were like, Nico Hülkenberg's in third. And I was like, nobody talk, nobody move. Everybody stays exactly where they are so they don't fuck this up. But he eventually, he lost it. Which, like, still top 5, though, for Haas is very good. Like,
very good.
Still something to be, like, very happy about.
Well, they were talking, the best was during the sprint, Gunther Steiner was the boss aide, like the team principal they kept talking to, and he was like, well, we'll see. He was like, don't jinx it yet.
Yeah, I remember them
but
talking.
He quickly, like, fell right back during the race. But, and obviously, Ferrari looked like different cars between quali and the sprint shootout, and sprint in general for Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz, though, I'll give him props. he went out at the beginning of SQ1 and he was like, there's something wrong. The team's, he's like, I think I have a brake issue. The team's not getting back to him, so he gets on the radio again. He's like, guys, can you let me know what's wrong? So they pull him in. He had a brake-by-wire failure. Take that as what you think it is. So they spent literally almost the whole SQ1, which is 12 minutes, fixing the car. They sent him out. He does a 1 lap last minute and goes fastest. I don't know how. He didn't even warm up tires. He just went for it. Like, he literally just he did a sprint lap. Like, it was amazing. I think it was way faster than what Max went to. So, like, it was wild. I don't know how he did that. But yeah, then Hamilton was obviously out after SQ1, which was shocking. And then George Russell had an issue, and he didn't even come out for SQ2, so he was automatically out, the first car out for SQ2.
Yeah, that shocked me because I remember I woke up and I walked out into the living room of where we were staying, and Nick had the sprint shootout on. And it was SQ2, and I was like, I took a quick glance at the leaderboard and then, like, came back, and I was like, are both Mercedes out? And he was like, yeah. He was like, Hamilton got out in SQ1. He was like, Russell hasn't even come out yet. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, oh. And then, like, SQ2 ended and Russell never came out. And I was like, that is not good. Like, that is bad for Mercedes.
It was not a good weekend for Mercedes.
No, they just had a shit weekend all around. But, like,
yeah,
I mean, it's just the lap from Sainz, too, is...
Did you watch it? Did you at least watch that lap?
I watched that lap. I mean, that was huge for him just to, like you said, like, guys have a brake failure. Pull me in. You have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, you fix it. And then he goes out there and does the fastest lap on not the warmest tires, you know.
No.
Like,
I mean, they were under the blankets probably, but still, they're not, like, used to the road conditions.
Yeah, they're not, track warm.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's just, like, wild to see. But very,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I said, the only thing we can really say is just, like, that's huge props. Like,
yeah, I'll give him that. The rest of the weekend, I'll get to it, but I'll go.
The real Casey.
Yeah, so then obviously Max wins the sprint. No shocker there. Perez was P2, and then Carlos Sainz finished P3. Followed by what?
I was going to say, I got to give also huge props to Carlos Sainz. He made me $11.25 richer.
Oh, there you go.
In for top 3. He was like plus like 185 odds or something, and I was like, that feels like doable to me. And then he got in third, and I kind of the same thing as Nico, and I was like, nobody move, nobody do anything. Like,
yeah.
And then when he finished third, I was very happy with it. I also placed money on Perez fastest lap, but that did not happen.
No, I forget who got fastest lap in the sprint. I'm gonna say Max, but I can't remember.
I don't think it was Max, actually.
I know Max got it for the race because that was a whole crazy thing, watching him do that for the race.
Max got it for the race. I don't think he got it for the sprint, but I could also be wrong. But what was I going to say? I'm forgetting. But yeah, I mean, it was a great sprint. I always like watching the sprint, especially too because this one was like a little bit of a longer one.
Yeah,
24 laps because the Red Bull Ring is shorter in comparison to other tracks, and it was
the Red Bull track. The Red Bull is so short.
What was I going to say? But it was cool because like that's right on the border there of just like, are people like going to come in for new tires? Like, what's the play here? Do you just go hards the entire time and stick to them, try to make them last, so then you can kind of beat out anybody that is going to do a pit stop? So it was cool. I liked that number of the laps because it really was on that fringe of like, what are people going to do? Because, you know, obviously we've seen Max go 35-something laps on hards, so it's like he easily could have done the 24 on the same set of tires and just never pit stop. I'm actually, now that I'm saying this, I don't know if you have to do a mandatory pit stop on a sprint race. I don't think you do.
I don't think you do. I feel like they probably only did it because. No, it didn't rain. Did it start to rain? No. I was watching it.
A little rainy. Yes, I think. I don't know. I'm forgetting.
I was watching in the car. So, like, I had it over here because I get car sick. So I was literally, like, kind of watching, but listening at the same time. But the battle between Ocon, Leclerc, there's a few other people. They literally were just showing that for the most of the sprint because it was intense. They were just changing literally back and forth the entire time.
Which, honestly, I'm so happy they covered that the entire time.
Because it was the most entertaining part about the sprint race.
And it made the sprint so much more fun to watch. It was just like watching all those four just flip back and forth and just keep going and everything. It was just like it was to the point where we were all like, we have no idea who's going to finish. Like who's going to finish?
Where they're going to finish?
End of the pack. Because like normally I would be like probably like Leclerc or Norris would finish ahead. See them squeaking that out, but like all four of them were just back and forth, swapping spots, and it's like I can't even tell you what's gonna happen here. Like
Esteban Ocon, literally, that was his like post-sprint Instagram post. Like it was a picture with like most of those cars in the picture, and he was like, "This was like what an insane battle." I was like, "Yeah, it had to have been crazy." I literally kept waiting for them to cross the finish line, like in cars when Lightning McQueen's sticking his tongue out. Yeah, that's what I kept waiting for. But yeah, I mean, besides that, it was the worst race I've ever watched Charles Leclerc do. He was I don't know what happened. We won't talk about it anymore. Yeah, we won't talk about it anymore. But yes, then I don't think anything else from the sprint. I mean, like you said, it's short, so it's not like.
No, I mean, it was literally just like, I mean, everybody finished the race. Nobody DNF'd or anything. There wasn't anything like insane happening. The biggest thing.
I don't even think there were really times deleted. Like no one really disobeyed the track limits for that race.
No, everybody decided to figure it out for the sprint, not the actual.
But then forget for the race.
Yeah, not the actual race. But I mean, yeah, it was just very, very entertaining sprint to watch, and I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely fun. And then I guess so. Moving on to the race, or the FIA time track limits Grand Prix, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah,
the hitting the Twitter limit not even halfway through the race, Grand Prix. Elon Musk, get it together. It was
a bad weekend for that to happen.
The worst weekend. Like there's literally no other sports going on in the world besides like women's basketball and baseball. But like you don't tweet like that compared to what you're watching for the race because literally something happens every 5 seconds. Yeah. It was the worst time. I knew I was going to hit it because the beginning of the race was so jam-packed. I was like, I'm hitting this. I know it's going to happen. And did it? Mm-hmm. Yes. But yes, so as we all know, plenty of times deleted. But starting off, the disaster Ferrari pit stop, they double stacked.
Yes.
And they were both over 4 seconds long. I don't know what happened. That was like last year watching a pit stop from them.
So Leclerc
came in first.
Yeah, so he came in first, and we watched that one, and we were all like, "Ooh, that was a little slow." And then maybe we were like, "Oh, maybe." And then we didn't realize they were double stacking either. So like Leclerc pulls away, and I think maybe a second later, like there's a little bit of a gap. It wasn't a great, like perfect double stack, but there was a little bit of a gap where then Sainz pulls in, and I was like, oh, maybe they'll hit him, maybe they'll get him out quicker. And it was like the same time, and we were all like, wow, that was bad. We were like, that was really, really bad. Like,
yeah, it was bad.
Like very, very slow, and the double stacking too. Just like right now, double stacking just feels like too much for Ferrari. Like
And thank God it was during the safety car. Could you imagine if it was during the actual race?
Yeah, I mean,
That's even worse.
Good for Ferrari for even figuring out, like, hey, now's the best time to do this, you know?
Well, that was one of the first things Carlos Sainz was complaining about was the double stack. I get it, but people were like, you literally went in and the safety car ended. So did you want them to pull you in another time and drop you back even further?
Yeah.
Like, pick or choose. The safety car was a good chance to do that because you were all close together, so you were fine. Yeah.
For them to miss it like that, like just the same thing you just said. Like, I would rather them call me in when it's ending rather than let it end, wait like a lap, and then be like, hey, come on in. Like, and you're like, well, everybody's like 2 seconds away from each like gap now between each other. I'm gonna lose so many spots. Like
No, they did it at the right time. But yeah, then I can't remember if the safety car was for Hulkenberg, right? When he went off?
Yes.
So yeah, that's why. And Nico Hulkenberg somehow still got a track limit.
Saw that. After he was out of the race.
He was already out. Yeah.
The notification on the screen popped up, and it was track limits for whatever. I can't think of his number right now.
Shout out to Haas, though. They were the only team to take the message you were getting on Twitter, and they changed it to track limit, like whatever, instead of the rate. Whatever the word on Twitter was using, they were the only team to change it. I was like, how is Haas? Yeah. Because that's when they tweeted about his penalty, and they're like, wait, how did he get one? I mean, drivers were... You would have thought there were some, like, sleeper agents within the drivers for the FIA, because Hamilton, Lando Norris, someone else were literally calling drivers out to their team radios because they could see them going off the track.
Yeah. Who was Hamilton calling out? Was it Checo?
Yes, and Checo was one of the drivers to not get any times deleted. So that's when the conspiracy theory that the FIA is working for Red Bull is growing, because he's the only driver. When you can go back and look at Hamilton's onboard, and Checo was legit off the track.
There was at least like 3 times a Hamilton message popped up on the screen and was like, Checo was going off the track. Where is his did he get a penalty, or like, where is his penalty and everything? And you're right, it never came.
I mean, Hamilton was complaining about everything on that radio, though, to the point where Toto had to get on and say, we know the car sucks, just keep driving.
Yeah, just drive it. Which is essentially just the play way of just like, shut up. Like,
I know this. That's Toto saying, I know this radio message is going to be broadcast on the TV broadcast, so stop complaining, stop bitching, and keep going.
We know it's bad. Yeah. Just drive it. Like, he's literally just like, shut up and drive the car. Like,
yeah. They probably can't wait for the upgrades they're bringing to Silverstone this week, because apparently they're huge.
Yeah. They're probably so excited.
Yeah. But, so, in total, there's still more we can talk about, though. In total, that there were over 1,200 times the FIA looked back at for potential track limit infringement. 1,200!
I can't imagine, that's literally, like, the moment you're done, like, being an FIA worker and, like, watching that replay, the moment you're done that replay, you have 5 more to watch. And you're like, all right. And then it just keeps going. Like, the moment you're done that next replay in the 5 more that you have to watch, you have another 5 to watch. And it's just like, it's just going and going and going and going and going. Did not look like fun for any FIA official. But
no. And then Aston Martin filing the complaint as soon as the race was over, because they were challenging it. And there's a picture that came out of their sporting director going to the FIA. The stack of papers he had in his hand were this thick. Well, one of the memes I was going to show said that was all of Esteban Ocon's infringement.
Here's all of them right here. Just
surprise.
Poor,
but yeah,
so had that novel slapped on their desk. Probably loved it.
So during the race, I was trying to take notes of who got the 5-second penalty during the race. So it was Hamilton, Tsunoda, Sainz, Ocon, Albon, Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, and Logan Sargent. That was just during the race that they broadcast on TV. The funniest one was Nico Hulkenberg getting when he was out of the race, and then Nick de Vries got a 5-second penalty, but he literally ran Kevin Magnussen off the track for no reason.
Which I love that came on, because to me, like the whole like he pushed me off the track. It's just like a general the go-to complaint for like I didn't like what he did, and I'm just gonna say that he pushed me off the track. But they showed that replay, and I was like, oh, he actually just like drove him right off
he just drove him right off
the track, and I was like, that's not a good look for Nick.
No, with his seat in such in danger. Yeah, no, that. But then obviously, what's it called? Aston Martin went to the race directors. They looked everything over, and next thing you know, you had 4 pages from the FIA coming out of all the extra penalties that were given. So these were the ones that were imposed after the race. So we got so Carlos Sainz ended up getting 10 seconds, Lewis Hamilton 10 seconds, Pierre Gasly 10 seconds, Alexander Albon 10 seconds, Esteban Ocon 30 seconds.
That's wild to me.
Logan Sargent 10, Nick DeVries, he got 15, and then Yuki Tsunoda got an extra 5. But like people were saying, what were they watching with Esteban Ocon? Because they just not watch him the entire race. He just turn a blind eye to Esteban Ocon.
He somehow really escaped those the intra race penalties.
Yeah.
Essentially slapped in the face with a textbook of penalties like afterwards and was like, hey, the time you did, you actually went 30 seconds slower. And it's like
30 seconds slower.
Fuck. Like,
did you see what they tweeted though, Alpine? They were like, fixed it, and there was a picture of Esteban Ocon off the tracks and they like moved the car to actually on the track. Yeah. No, it was literally, I was like, okay, well, I deleted our graphics, like our finishing what's it called? Because they ended up changing the finishing places.
Yeah.
I don't have it saved. But it really wasn't that many people. Carlos dropped. Ocon dropped for obvious reasons. But yeah, then it came out. Carlos was pissed, clearly enough. I'm going to go on a tangent because Carlos Sainz needs to understand. So, obviously, Charles Leclerc ends up on the podium. It's the 800th podium for Ferrari in Ferrari history. Big accomplishment. They could have had 2 on the podium. Apparently, they discussed in the race strategy before they weren't going to let them fight. Carlos Sainz, literally not even 2 minutes into the race, is complaining that he can go faster than Charles Leclerc and all this stuff. But then when it comes out, you see the lap times when his were deleted. It was that entire time he said he could go faster. And then Fred Vasseur is saying, yeah, of course he can go faster when he's the driver with DRS.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
A slipstream. Like, no duh, you can go faster than the driver in front of you. He literally said he knew the plan. He just wanted to put pressure on us. And they just ignored him and said, you're not allowed to fight. So they put him in his place, which that probably makes him extremely unhappy.
That would make anybody unhappy. But
yeah.
Fred has a great point. Of course you're going faster. You have DRS and you, like you said, you're in a slipstream. Like,
but also obey the track limits. Don't keep running off.
Yeah.
So that's what people were like. He was bitching and crying, and then it turns out he lost the team points and what could have been a double podium. Like, stop complaining.
That to me just screams like I'm focused on the wrong thing. Like, I'm so focused on getting ahead of Charles and fighting with Charles and the team that I'm not looking where I'm driving. Like, that's
that's literally, he's a driver first. Like, he's putting himself before the team when you could have picked up a decent amount of points that week, this past weekend.
Picked up like an insane amount of points. A 2-3 podium, that would have been like, people would have loved that. Loved to have seen that. And yeah,
especially at the Red Bull Ring. You have 2 Ferrari drivers at the Red Bull Ring.
God, yeah. But nope, he got a little selfish and screwed everything over.
That's when I saw that the stuff came out, like with when his track times were deleted in Eiler. It's like, Carlos, I can't defend you when it's literally written right there, the timing and what laps you were doing that.
Yeah,
but yeah, so but the battle between him and Perez near the end,
very good.
He basically said that's what secured Leclerc's P2, but Fred also came out and said, no, Leclerc would have been P2 regardless, so Fred was not happy with Carlos. But yeah, their battle was half of the highlights video when I was making the little recap video for the race, because they were going back and forth for so long.
Yeah,
it was so entertaining.
It was a great battle between the two of them.
I mean, they literally were going like changing positions so much between when they were fighting near the end.
Which is exactly what you want to see from
a Ferrari and a Red Bull.
Going back and forth, battling like that. It's just like,
it's just if you could have the P1 and P2 and Max Verstappen not be 28 seconds ahead.
Exactly.
Yes.
I saw a picture on Twitter the other day, and I think a girl posted it, and she was like, "This is how my boyfriend watches F1 now." And there was a piece of tape over Max Verstappen's name on the number one spot, and it was just like, I was like, "Yep." I was like, "That makes sense." Like nobody cares anymore if he's in first. Like people are just.
Did you see what the Australia GP, like the official Twitter account for the Australia Grand Prix, tweeted out?
No.
Before the race was even over, before the race was even over, they tweeted out that he won, and they didn't delete it. And then the admin goes, "I might as well just leave it, right?" Like, you just know, like they don't even show him on the TV screen because he's so far ahead. Like that's not where the battle is.
Yeah.
In the middle. Yeah, no. At one point, they were literally showing a battle at like the back, like between like 19th and 18th, and I was like, "Are we really watching this?"
Well, we should. I mean, it's a fight. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really mean much because obviously there's no points, but it means something to the drivers just because it gets them up more in the field. But like, absolutely, show me the close battles. That's what I want to see. Like,
yeah,
like I remember literally saying like, I think we were watching that like 18 to 19 battle, and I was like, all right, like we watched this for a good amount of time. Now show me Checo and Sainz going back and forth. And
I was happy they kept them on their entire battle. Like they didn't go away to any driver. I was happy they showed them the whole time.
And yeah, like 2 minutes later, they snapped to them and like started showing it, and that's when they stayed on them. And I was like, this is so good. Like this is such a good battle to watch. Like, please keep showing this.
But then I was happy they showed when Max Verstappen, the freaking nature that it is, goes in with a lap to go to change tires to get the fastest lap, and he does it.
So Nick sent me a TikTok about this, and all Nick puts when he sent me the text is just "what an ass," and I'm like, oh god, like what is this? And it's the onboard from Max's car and the radio from Max's car when Max goes, like I want to box for new tires so I can go fastest lap. And it's essentially the team is just like, no, we're good. Like, stay out there. You have like 2 laps left. Like, stay out. Like, blah, blah. And he was like, no, I'm coming in. Like, I'm going to box. So then finally the team gets on the radio and they're like, okay, like they call him like box, like confirm.
Yeah.
He comes in, but before he comes in, they show a clip of the team, like the pit stop crew sitting in their chairs watching the race. All of their faces just look absolutely like miserable. Like they look so pissed off that he's coming in. And I think it's literally just because it's like we had 2 laps left. We were done. Like now you're putting the pressure on us getting a pit stop, nailing a pit stop when we weren't expecting it. Like they had to like move like grates out of the way for him to pull into the pit stop.
They weren't even ready.
Yeah,
they're ready to pack up and go home.
And then they're like, luckily, like we're able to pull off this quick enough pit stop that he could get out there and do a fastest lap. And it's just like, if it's getting to the point now where like his like, I want every point possible, like doesn't matter about anybody else, like that team is not going to end up like enjoying it for him.
Oh no. And
it's just like, I mean, I'm telling you, I'll have to send you the TikTok because you can see it like in the
on their faces.
The brief clip where you see the team, the crew sitting in their chairs watching the race. They all just look like the collective look is just like, is this guy really fucking coming in right now? Like that's the whole mood across the entire board, and it just looks miserable. It's just so.
Well, that's when you see the reports like with Helmut Marko saying that Max Verstappen doesn't care about the records. Does he? Because I think he does.
He does. He
cares.
Absolutely wants. He wants his name on every single record out there.
Yeah, he wants it all.
I respect it. Like, go ahead, like, go get those, like, get the points, get the records and everything. But, like, I just thought it was so funny that like the whole team just looks like, they literally are just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
It's
like,
just
what's going on?
I'll send you the TikTok once we're done because it's really funny. Like all the look on their faces.
Yeah, no, I will have to look for that one. But yeah, I don't think I was looking back. Sorry, hold on. Let's see if there's anything else regarding what I saved. I don't think so. Oh, you know what I did see yesterday?
What's that?
I didn't tweet that much yesterday, so I should be able to find it. So it was an interview from Lando Norris. He said, where did it go? So Norris said Alonso was the first person to tell him about the Australia penalties. He said, I think Fernando texted me straight away saying, busted, and then he told me to read what was happening and who he thought was going to get penalties. I said, the Fernando Alonso just causing chaos.
I love it. He's literally there just to like have fun and mess with people. Like,
yeah, he's happy where he is right now. He's just, that was, I literally was like, LOL. It's like Fernando Alonso. He's just causing chaos, breaking people's hearts. But yeah, that was, oh my goodness. On Twitter, it just came up, Toto Wolff and his wife, Susie, are in front of the Prime Minister's office in England.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't think there's anything else really outstanding on the, obviously Max won, followed by Charles, and then Perez. That was the podium. I don't think there's anything else, right?
No, I mean, I do want to say though, like yes, Carlos like screwed up the double podium for Ferrari, but also at the same time, for them to kind of go off of what we talked about last week of capitalizing or continuing this momentum of the 4th and 5th place finish last week to now you get a podium finish, and I'm blanking on where Carlos is finished, but
he ended up, I think, dropping to 6th. He was 4th, and then he dropped to 6th or 7th.
So it wasn't, obviously he didn't do better, but like that shows improvement from Ferrari, at least one of their drivers. And it's nice to see that, it's nice to see that they can still get on the podium. And
well, it was a welcoming change. It was a nice welcoming change. You got the text messages when Leclerc was leading for like 2 laps.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
I was like, finally.
It was nice seeing somebody different at the top of the leaderboard.
But then next thing you know, Max is out of the pit lane and back in front.
Yeah.
But Max probably even during that battle was like, probably like, yes. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, he literally called out in the post-race conference saying that, I mean, he has to be bored. Like, he enjoys the battles. He wishes someone was like, that's Adrian Newey's cue to build a Red Bull, spray paint it red, and give it to Charles Leclerc because he'll be able to compete with Max Verstappen all the time. And then there was the one interview in the post-race, literally told Charles Leclerc that he's 157 points away from Max Verstappen, so ideally he's not going to catch him. And you see Charles Leclerc's face like, yeah, no shit. Like, I know what kind of season I've been having. Like, I'm not going to beat him. It's not going to be like last year.
They're just kick him when he's down.
Yeah. They were like, he was like, okay. Like, but yeah, no, I enjoy the Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc rivalry. I've said it before. That's what the sport needs. Because, like, him and Verstappen and Hamilton's one thing. They don't really respect each other, but Verstappen and Leclerc respect each other. They've grown up with each other since they were little. I mean, they used to hate each other's guts. It was just an incident. Like, they used to hate each other's guts. But, yeah, no, I needed. Next year, I'm already moving on. Next year, Fred.
Those two want to fight with each other. And
100%.
Every single person, regardless if you're a Red Bull fan or Ferrari fan, can agree we want them to fight as well. Like
Christian Horner even wants them to fight, probably. I mean, we all saw his comments from last year's Drive to Survive or this year's Drive to Survive. He wants them to fight. Yeah, it's not a secret because they're two generational talents. So it would be for some iconic. It'd probably be like on the same page as when Hamilton was fighting with Sebastian Vettel because I've never watched a lot of those races, but those two were. I mean, they were back and forth all the time, and they have respect for each other. So it would be almost like that.
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
And it would be great for us as fans. It would be fantastic for us as fans. Like,
yeah. Thank God. I just need it. Not thank God. Pray to God I need it. But yes, I don't think anything else from Austria.
no, that was the last bit that I wanted to say was Ferrari's little bit of improvement to second place. So happy about that.
Yeah, me too. Okay, moving on. Silverstone. Silverstone, obviously the home race of both Mercedes drivers and Lando Norris. We already know about the cool chrome McLaren livery, but it's not fully chrome. So apparently people asked Zach Brown why it's not fully chrome, and he said he wanted to keep some of the orange because that's what McLaren is now. People were like, it's literally a one time. Just go back to the full chrome. Like, just do the full chrome. And it works. They're doing it with their partner, Google Chrome. So it's like hand in hand. Perfect match made in heaven. Yeah, Lando Norris' dream is coming true. I've seen multiple, interviews where he said they're his favorite cars from back, like before old McLaren F1 cars when they're the full chrome. I know we're going to have special helmets. I'm pretty sure there's already word that Lando Norris' helmet's going to be chrome also, which will be sick with his white race suit.
That will look good. I mean,
yeah.
I'm looking at pictures of the car.
Did you see the meme? Someone was like, on a sunny day in Silverstone this upcoming weekend, and the chrome livery drives past, and you're like, oh my blinded. Yeah, so obviously this upcoming weekend, July 7th, 8th, and 9th, back to normal format. Practice 1, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Practice 2, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Practice 3 on Saturday is 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Qualifying is 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then the race is on Sunday the 9th at 10 a.m. It's 52 laps. So the track is 18 turns with 52 laps. It's just almost like 6 kilometers or like over 3.5 miles. So it's one of the longer tracks. Not as many laps compared to, I think the last 2 races we had 70 and like 71. So
yeah,
longer lap times. Well, here goes the show. He's gonna crush it this weekend. The lap records from Max Verstappen in 2020. He won a 1:27. So I can only imagine when he's gonna go this weekend.
1:20, 1:23.
Yeah, he's gonna crush that lap record. And then the past 2 winners, 2021 was Lewis Hamilton, and last year we all know Carlos Sainz, a very controversial win for Ferrari fans. I've already seen, I don't even follow that many. I mean, I do follow random like Ferrari or Charles Leclerc accounts on Twitter, and I've already seen people going back and forth. So it's gonna be a long week for the Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz fans. I mean, that was the finger wag heard around the world from Mattia Bonato in Charles Leclerc's face, to the point where Ted Kravitz on TV was even like, "Oh, what? Like, why would you do that?" What else? It's also the anniversary of the bonk heard around the world when Daniel Ricciardo hit Lando Norris in the face with the bouncy ball.
Yes, that's such a funny video.
It's such a funny video. But I don't think anything else. Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be special helmets. I think Williams has a special livery. I can't remember when they're releasing their special one. The ones you could like vote on.
I mean, it would have to be.
I know, it's technically their home. It's so many teams' home race. Like, it's Mercedes, McLaren. They're all right there.
Yeah.
Aston Martin. Yeah, they're...
I mean, if Williams is doing anything or, like, dropping any sort of special livery, it would have to be today or tomorrow, right? Like...
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you would have to put it out today or tomorrow, at the latest tomorrow. So then generate the hype around it for Thursday and then Friday, you know. Like,
yeah, McLaren did that because of a short week from one race to the other. They did it perfectly on that Monday. Did the big unveiling. But yeah, so normal week, so that we don't need that many predictions. Which I also forgot, Daniel Ricciardo's doing tire testing in the Red Bull car after Silverstone this week.
Yes, he is. And
completely went from my mind. Brad Pitt's filming this weekend at Silverstone.
Brad Pitt is filming this weekend at Silverstone, yes.
There's apparently fake garages in like for 2 of the drivers that are in the movie, in the pit lane already.
Oh.
They're driving F2 cars that look like F1 cars. But I think it's during a practice, is it not? I think it's during a practice that they're filming stuff.
I thought he was doing a start with everyone, with an entire grid for filming.
Oh, okay.
But it might be during. They can't. I mean, honestly, they can't do it during a race. There's no way. But I can see them doing it during a practice. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's F2 and F3 this weekend as well, so it's gonna be jam packed with races this weekend. So, I mean, it's Silverstone. It's a pretty big celebration. But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo is driving after. Oh, I meant to mention this earlier. I don't think maybe it's before Silverstone or after Silverstone. It's like that good, something like the Temple of Speed. They do like show runs, but Mick Schumacher's driving his dad's Mercedes, which that'll be fun to see. So I wish they would televise those things.
Yeah.
Because I want to see him drive. But yeah, so also I saw apparently there's a threat of rain on Saturday and Sunday. So
I did see. Yeah, I saw that earlier.
That you can't even say it's a battle of Max Verstappen and the natural elements because it doesn't even stop him. So
no, it does not. It does not stop him whatsoever.
No, and if I have to see the crash last year between Joe and George Russell one time this weekend, I'm gonna flip. They showed it way too much last year. They showed it way too much in Drive to Survive. I don't need to see it again because that was scary. I don't need to see it again.
That was like every episode of Drive to Survive somehow referenced and then shown footage of that crash.
And they didn't even do a whole episode on Alfa Romeo, but it still was in there. They literally talked to Joe for like a second. He was the one that was hanging upside down. Like you could have talked to him. Yeah, no. If I have to see it one time, I'm turning TV off. I won't watch this weekend. That's a lie. I'll watch.
That is a bold-faced lie.
And we know, before predictions, we know Mercedes is bringing pretty big upgrades. McLaren's bringing upgrades. Ferrari's apparently bringing upgrades as well. Not big ones, but they're bringing some changes. And Aston Martin?
Do we know, specifically for Mercedes, are both George and Lewis getting the upgrades? Okay, all right.
I think so. And I think Logan Sargent had the upgrades last week in Austria for his car, and he looked pretty good with them. He was just, obviously, he's not as experienced as Alex Albon, but it will be exciting to see him get more comfortable in those.
I did not realize he had them. I should have watched them closely, but
no, because they only gave it to Alex before, and he excelled with them in Montreal, and then Logan Sargent was getting them next. But yeah, I think both Mercedes are getting them at the same time. So yeah, there's gonna be, but okay, you want to do predictions?
Yeah.
Just quali and race. You can go first.
Quali and race, I'm doing. Let's see. You know what? Quali, I'm gonna throw out a wild card here. I think he's gonna figure it out and go pole. Checo Perez. I think he can figure it out. Go pole. Second, Max. Third, Leclerc. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. I'll do quali next. Quali, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna say Max Verstappen. I'm gonna say Charles Leclerc. Then I'm gonna throw. I think Lando Norris could be P3.
Ooh.
I've heard good. They are hyping up these. I mean, it is also McLaren. They're hyping up the upgrades, so I'll do that. But I also think it could be Lando Norris, but it could be a Mercedes in there as well. So that's my quality. Yeah.
All right. Well then, so for the race, this is why I asked the question about the Mercedes upgrades. Who's getting them?
I think they're both getting them.
I'm going P1 Max, P2 Lewis, P3 George Russell.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with. I think it's going to be a big weekend for Mercedes. I think they're coming in. They love this track. They obviously are hyping up, like McLaren, are hyping up these upgrades. We've been talking about them for weeks. About these upgrades coming to Silverstone. I think it's going to be a good weekend for Mercedes. So, yeah, I'm going 2-3 Mercedes.
Okay, I'm going to do – okay, you ready for it? I believe in Toto Wolff. He said they're winning. So I'm going to do Lewis Hamilton P1. I think it'll be his first win in 2 seasons, followed by – if we can get a or Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen battle, I'll be happy with it. So Max will be P2.
Yes.
Max is P2. And then I'm going to throw, just because, Charlotte Leclerc and P3. Just because. Yeah. I agree. I think it'll be a big weekend for Mercedes. I think they're going to.
Happy too. I'm going to throw another prediction in there. I'm going to go top 6, Lando Norris.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Top
and
6.
I'm hoping last week was just a one-off for Oscar Piastri, and he's back.
Yeah.
He was, like, weirdly at the bottom of the pack, and that's, like, unheard of for him this season. So I hope he's also back up in the top 10. If you could have both Mercedes and McLaren's in the top 10, they'll probably have that as a success.
That's it. Yeah, that's a success for them. Absolutely.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, okay. I have Hamilton. You have Max Verstappen winning.
I have Max. And I have the Mercedes 2-3. So
yeah, you do. Yeah.
That is,
I just don't want to hear the Austrian and Dutch national anthem one more time.
oh, I don't blame you.
One more time. Did you see people were making fun of Lewis Hamilton? Well, people were also pissed at Lewis Hamilton. It looks like he's closing his ears during the national anthem.
About this,
he does it every race. It wasn't just because we were in Austria. He literally does it every race. Like, he probably has something in his ears to, like, help him get hyped up or something, but every race he's standing there like this.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he wasn't doing it because he hates Austria.
He was just like, screw this.
Getting ready.
I'm not listening to this anymore.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, no. Okay. All right, I think that's it. You want to do the closing?
Close us out. All right, well, thank you for listening today to the F1 Underground podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and our other episodes, please give us a follow at Instagram over at @undergroundf1. That's Instagram. Please give us a follow as well on Twitter at _underscore_F1.
For now. Who knows what's going to happen with Twitter?
Well, yeah, for now. Twitter might be going bye-bye, but, that's the point. But, yes, for now, please go give us a follow. If you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about, anything you want us to talk about on here on the show or just talk to us, please give us an email at undergroundf1pod@gmail.com. Like I keep saying, I check those every single day. So just, if you want to hit us up, reach out that way. We'll get back to you. And please leave a review wherever you listen to the show. Really helps our page and this podcast grow. Obviously, we want to reach a whole bunch of people. Sorry, my voice is very scratchy. Please go leave us a review. Like I said, really, really helps. Please also go give us a follow on our main YouTube page at Underground Sports Philadelphia. You get full episodes of this show, getting the whole Underground Sports Philly streamer season, every show on the Underground Sports Network.
And also go, sorry, I'm throwing in there. And also go, they're now on, the main page is now on TikTok at Underground PHI. So go give a follow there.
Yes, please go on TikTok. We just started that a couple days ago, actually. I forgot Kyle did that. So
yeah,
please go to TikTok, give us a follow, Underground PHI. Please and thank you. We really appreciate you guys listening today. And we look forward to seeing you next week after Silverstone. Go Mercedes.
Go Mercedes. Go Brit-Sadies, as I call them. Okay.